Hello there. Today we're going to talk about a story from nature. It's a very famous story, and it's a true one. But I should tell you, this isn't a happy story. It's a quiet and actually very sad story about a single penguin and a choice that nobody could really understand.
The story is often introduced with this quote: "This is a story about a journey to the end." These words are from a movie, a documentary, that first showed this penguin story to the world. And they really set the mood, don't they? A journey to the end. It makes you feel that something very serious is about to happen.
Okay, so before we get to this penguin's very strange journey, we first have to understand what a normal life for a penguin is like. What do they usually do every day? Let's take a look at their world.
Right. So penguins live in Antarctica. It is the coldest place in the whole world. And they don't live by themselves. They're very social, which means they love to be together. They live in these huge groups with thousands of other penguins. We call a big group of animals like this a colony. So a penguin colony is a really busy, noisy place, just full of penguin families.
And for every single penguin in that colony, there's one really simple rule. The ocean is everything. The ocean means life. Why? Well, that's where all their food is. It's like their giant grocery store. They find all their fish and other things to eat there. So if a penguin doesn't have the ocean, it just can't live. It's that simple.
So think about it. For a penguin standing on the ice, there are really only two ways to go. Just two choices. One way is toward the ocean. And that's where you find food, your family, your colony, everything you need for life. But the other way? That's toward the land, toward the giant continent of Antarctica. And that way, there's just nothing. No food, no water, just ice and emptiness for thousands and thousands of kilometers.
And this is where our story really begins. It's about this one strange moment. One day, some people were there filming a movie about these penguins, and everything looked completely normal. All the penguins were doing what they always do, and then something changed.
So just picture this, right? You have hundreds and hundreds of penguins, and they're all walking together in a big group, heading for the water, for the ocean. They're going to find food. This is the normal, everyday thing that penguins do to survive. But then, right in the middle of this huge crowd of penguins all moving toward life, one of them just stopped.
And it didn't just stop for a quick break. No, it did something nobody expected. It turned around. It turned its back on the ocean, on its family, on life itself. And then it started walking the other way, away from the sea, toward nothing. Now, this choice, to walk away, it was a choice that meant there was no coming back. The people who were there filming, they were scientists, and they were just shocked. They could not believe what they were seeing.
So this little penguin was walking away from the water, away from its family, and it was heading towards some mountains in the distance. But these mountains were so far away. It was an impossible trip, a journey with no food, no water, and no other penguins. It was a path to nowhere.
The man who was making the film, his name was Werner Herzog. And when he saw this, he asked a question that I think we're all thinking. He said, do penguins go mad? Do they get depressed? He was asking, can an animal feel so sad or so confused that it chooses to do something like this?
Well, the scientists who were watching felt so bad. They knew this penguin was just walking to its death, so they decided to help. They actually caught the penguin, and they carried it all the way back to its group, back to the colony near the ocean. But the moment they put it down, it just turned around, and it started walking away again, right back toward those mountains. It was like it did not want to be saved.
And so that's where the story leaves us, with a big mystery, because we just don't know why it did this. The penguin just walked and walked into the big white nothing. And that image, that picture of the lonely penguin, is something people have never forgotten.
So the biggest question is just, why? What was the reason? Maybe the penguin was just confused. Maybe its brain wasn't working right, and it got lost. That's what a scientist might say. But maybe it was something else. Was it feeling sad? Did it just want to be alone? We don't know. But it really feels like it made a choice, doesn't it?
After people saw this story in the movie, it became super famous. Everybody was talking about this one sad penguin. And I think the reason is because the feeling of the story felt familiar. That picture of one small creature walking all alone into a big, empty world. A lot of people felt like they understood that.
And so that's the final question, really.
It's the one the story leaves us with. It's a story about a penguin, yes, but maybe it's also about us. Maybe it reminds us of times when we feel lost or when we just want to walk away from everything. So why does this one little penguin's lonely journey feel so human to us?